Hello and welcome to Cheating Exposed. Today's story is, my wife refuses to accept our divorce and I think she's trying to trick me. My wife, 29, female, and I, 34, male, have been married for 4 years, and up until a year and a half ago, things were fantastic. Our marriage began to deteriorate after there was a significant drop in sex between us, not intimacy, just the actual sex part of the relationship. We would still cuddle and have deep intimate moments, talking and just being around each other, but she kept rejecting my attempts at taking things further past kissing. Now we have had no problem communicating, so I made sure to address it early, and we talked and made adjustments. We both made sure to stay in shape, we tried being more adventurous, we went to couples therapy, counseling, and even tested both of our hormone levels. Everything was normal. Each solution would work for a little while, and then we'd be back to having sex maybe once a month. I asked her several times if she was no longer attracted to me, to which she denied every time. I asked her if I was falling short in the relationship in any other way, to which she said no. Well, about a month ago, she gets back from her therapy session and tells me that she believes she's asexual, and that's the reason for her libido being non-existent as of late. I was definitely confused, because we had such great sex for a while in the beginning of our relationship, but her telling me that she's now asexual was heartbreaking, because everything else is great. Obviously, I'm not going to force her to have sex, so we had a long conversation about our relationship, and I came to the conclusion that we should get a divorce. I say because she immediately rejected the idea and said we would figure something out, and wouldn't talk to me about it anymore. I didn't know what to say, so I dropped it. Well, 3 weeks go by without sex, and I decided that I have to do this for my own mental well-being, so I filed for divorce and had her served with the papers. Last week, when I got home from work, she was going about the day like nothing was wrong. I asked her if she signed the papers, and she flat out said, "We are not getting a divorce," and changed the subject, acting like things were normal. Obviously, I thought this was crazy, so I stopped her and said I couldn't be in a marriage devoid of sex. I mentioned that I was being incredibly fair with our divorce. She can keep the house that we bought and paid for with cash. She paid 1/3, I paid 2/3. I take all of the debt, which isn't much, we'd split our savings and investments in half, and she can keep 2 of our 3 paid-off cars. I only wanted to keep my sports car. Thankfully, we don't have kids. I love her and wanted her to be comfortable, and I have no problem starting over since I make a good income. But she won't budge or talk about the divorce. This brings us to 2 days ago. I get home and go to our bedroom and find my wife's friend, 27, female, in our bed naked. I immediately shut the door, said sorry, and went looking for my wife. I found her in the kitchen and asked what her friend was doing here, and she said that she was here for me. I put 2 and 2 together and said that I'm not having sex with other women in place of the woman I chose to marry. She was adamant on saying that I could sleep with her whenever I wanted, and that her friend agreed to it. I couldn't believe things would get this far, so I went back to our bedroom and asked her friend to leave. I packed a bag, and I've been staying in a hotel nearby since that night. My wife, her mother, and her sister keep calling me, but I'm just not interested in hearing what they have to say. This feels like a trick. I just want this whole thing to be over. My wife came to my hotel last night, and we talked about everything. She told me the full truth and what's been going on in her mind. Number 1. She said she's always been asexual, her whole family has known since she was 16. Apparently, that's why her last long-term relationship of 3 years ended. He broke up with her after the sex dropped off and eventually stopped entirely after the first year. She told me sex is easier for her in the beginning when emotions are running high, but even then she has to force herself. I always knew that breakup was due to irreconcilable differences, but I never asked for details, and she never gave them. After a lot of apologies and crying, she told me I was the first person she was able to tolerate sex with for so long, and that she even enjoyed it a handful of times, but eventually, she started feeling like she was being raped. That broke me. I started kicking myself for not catching on. She said she tried her best to please me. Number 2. She still doesn't want a divorce. She doesn't care about the house, the cars, or the savings. She said she just wants me and is ready to do whatever it takes to keep me. She even offered to sign a postnup stating all of this. Number 3. About her friend, apparently she was around during the last breakup and helped her through it. After I brought up divorce, my wife went to her again. The friend suggested opening the relationship for my sake. But my wife didn't want me sleeping with random people, so her friend volunteered to be the one I could sleep with. My wife thought that was a great idea, which led to the scene at the house. I'm not going to comment on the friend's appearance because it doesn't matter, and honestly, I don't blame her. Number 4. My lawyer got back to me, and you were all right. I don't need her permission to go through with the divorce. But I do have to wait a bit if I want to push it forward. Number 5. I asked her why she hid all of this from me. She said she was tired of being rejected after revealing she was asexual in past relationships. So this time, she convinced herself she could force it. The hormone testing, the couples therapy, all the solutions we tried, it was just her buying time, trying to find another way around sex, or giving herself enough space to build up the strength to start again for me. Number 6. Our talk ended with us holding each other in bed and crying for a couple of hours. No, we didn't have sex. She just begged me to hold off on the divorce so we could try to find a solution together, and then she left the hotel room. Update. About a week later, my wife asked to meet and talk things through again. Since that night with her friend, I've been staying at an extended stay hotel. We met at our house and talked for a few hours. She started with a long string of apologies for how she acted, for lying about her sexuality, and for not taking my sexual needs seriously. Before I could even respond, she handed me a signed postnup. She had it drawn up by a lawyer. It said she didn't want anything, not the house, not the cars, not the savings. Nothing. I honestly felt like an asshole. I had started thinking maybe she was playing some long game for money. But this kind of killed that thought. I asked her if she was serious. She said yes, told me to take the postnup, sign it if and when I'm ready. It's still in my backpack. I told her again, I still think divorce is the right path. That we both deserve partners who align with our needs. She begged me to reconsider. Started crying. And I did too. Seeing her like that was rough. I told her that her idea of finding other women for me to sleep with wasn't going to work. What if I caught feelings? What if one of them got pregnant? Were we just going to ask for an abortion? She said we'd figure it out as we go along and pleaded for more time to work on other options. Said she scheduled therapy, hormone therapy, sex therapy, even a sex guru. I told her it felt like we were just looping back to where we started, but she wouldn't let go. She kept asking me to wait. There were more apologies from both of us. We kissed for a while, then I left and went back to my hotel. A few days later, I texted her. No reply. Then I called her dad. I've been avoiding her mom and sister, they're just repeating her words. Her dad told me she moved back home and had basically shut down. She wasn't talking to anyone. Had called out of work. Barely eating. Barely bathing. He asked me what I planned to do, and I didn't have an answer. He just said, I get it. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I went back to the house a day later. A lot of her stuff was gone. The place feels empty. I've been sleeping in one of the guest rooms. In a couple of weeks, I'm planning to fly out to my mom's to decompress. Spend some time with family and clear my head. I'm still leaning toward divorce. But I guess there's no rush. Final update. The divorce was finalized a few months ago. We sold the house and one of the cars. My ex-wife is still living with her parents. I had about 2/3 of the proceeds wired directly to her account, but the last time I spoke with her dad, he told me she hasn't touched any of it. He also told me she checked into a mental health clinic. I don't know how long she was there or how she's doing now. I changed my number after everything, but her dad still emails me every few months to check in. That honestly breaks my heart. He's a good man. He handled everything with so much grace, even when he was stuck between both sides. He helped keep things from getting ugly. And while I do wish I'd known more earlier, I don't think it was really his place to say anything either. So I don't hold that against him. I've moved back to my home state to be closer to family. I might leave again at some point, maybe try another state. I don't know. Right now, I just feel numb from everything. I'm not much of a drinker, so I've mostly been smoking weed and hitting the gym to keep my head busy. That's where I'm at. Well, folks, that's all. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment, and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.